When the New York Giants hosted the Washington Redskins on November 23rd, 1958, New York's biggest worry was Washington quarterback Eddie LeBaron. LeBaron was a tremendous passer, as we saw when we lost to the Redskins a few days ago. Even the Washington Evening Star held out a glimmer of hope that the 3-5 Redskins might be able to pull off an upset. In the end, though, the Giants shut out the Redskins 30-0, practically ending Washington's season. And so, as the Baltimore Colts looked up towards the title, the Washington Redskins could only look with a prayer in their hearts towards 1959. And I want to welcome you back to 1958 once again, as we have a little bit more action with the New York Giants, and we'll go ahead and just switch straight on over to Tecmo Super Bowl here, and push the start button and get this going. So if you've just joined us, I want to welcome you, and if you haven't just joined us, if you've been along for the long ride here, I want to welcome you anyway, and we're going to play against the Redskins once again, who have Jim Podolly back. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but those of you who know a lot more about the history of the sport than I do can go look that up and tell me in the comments exactly what's going on. So we'll see what we can do here. We've had some lack of luck when it comes to running the football in recent games. And as you'll recall, we had a little bit of trouble here with Washington. And so just as I mentioned there in the sort of lead into this, we're probably going to be looking really, really carefully to see what it is that we can do, mostly relying on the passing game against this defense that sort of stymied us last time around. And so that's a little bit there for Frank Gifford, try to open something up as far as the passing game is concerned. So just so you know, Alex Webster in real life actually missed this game. It's one of the things that's really hard to recreate. So, I mean, nobody's looking for Tecmo Super Bowl to do like a full, like actual recreation of a season. This isn't that type of game. And I'm realizing now I was going to take that circle pass out, and I totally forgot to take that pass pattern out. And look at Triplet go, man. He's a man on a mission. So, you know, nobody who does like football projects, replays, or anything like that really cares that much about trying to, you know, make sure that all of the injuries and everything are exactly the way that they were in real life. But it's interesting to know about. It's interesting to at least know that this stuff is out there. The truth is that at least back in these days, when you're talking, oh shoot, he was a long way away from that too. I thought for sure that we were going to be able to get that off, and apparently I waited a little bit too long to kick the extra point. And so that makes it only 6-0 for us. Now we have to stop them here, but we do get it. Anyway, so just so you know, not a whole lot of people are paying a lot of attention to stuff like that when it comes to sort of football games. Boy, he dove about halfway across the field to get that close to that one. Anyway, so pretty interesting stuff. We will, however, here at least in this project, if not in other projects as well, we'll make sure that we pay attention to what happened in real life. Of course, 1958 is a pretty good season for that because you don't have the really, really large, man, he just got it. You don't have the really large rosters that you eventually have in the NFL, which is one of the things that makes it really, really hard to get a good grasp on like who is who, who's doing what are the transactions and all that other stuff. The really large rosters don't really begin until a little bit after this. It's after, probably I think in the late 80s or so that we start really seeing, sort of modern style large rosters. And we've seen this happen before, haven't we? Johnny Olszewski, I think also was a big thorn in our side last time, if I remember right. So I thought I was probably about as far away from that extra point as they were from mine. I thought though that it was at least similar, but we had very, very different results. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make something good happen here. I've noticed that the computer will never dive vertically, right? It's a real easy way to make it so that you can get what you really want. That's definitely not what I wanted. It's a really easy way to make sure that you can get a couple of extra yards when you play this game because the computer just doesn't dive when you go up to down. Or down to up for that matter. There you are. The computer always dives diagonally. I've noticed that. So, you know, put that under your hat and keep it safe. Don't let them know that we know. That was Frank Gifford again, and let's see if we can finish this up here. No triplet, but he only gets about a yard or two out of that. That was it. It's probably not the best play to call, but I was looking kind of hopefully for that screen. And this time he doesn't catch it, so you got to catch the ball. It's the most basic thing you got to do when I'm throwing a pass to you is you just have to catch the ball. If you catch the ball, better things will happen than if you don't catch the ball. So anyway, we end up scrambling for the touchdown, and that is Charlie Connerly. I think that is his first rushing touchdown of the season. Normally here we want to go for 2, but we really don't have the choice to do that, so I just push A as fast as I possibly can, and that helps us get the extra point. This time we actually get it off. And we get a good kickoff off as well, so good job for Pat Summerall. So we're doing okay so far, but like I've said before, this is a team that we do very much worry about. This is a team that has the ability to really, really hurt us, and so this is one of the reasons why I'm playing a little bit more conservatively here on defense, try to make sure that you know, we don't get totally killed by them when it comes to some of these passes. That first game that we played against them in Washington was kind of an ugly game. And it's an even uglier game when you realize how not so great this team was in real life. But I'm starting to have flashbacks to that game, and I'm starting to remember that it really was that running game that was hurting us the most. So we're going to keep trying to get ourselves in good position to stop that when it comes. They're going to throw right over the blitz, but we end up preventing them from completing the pass in the end, which is the thing that we want to see. We'll see, though, if they do run it again. And see, he just completely flattened me. And that's Olszewski again. So you guys can go look up Johnny Olszewski and tell me, you know, what kind of runner he was and why it is that every time I try to tackle him, I just bounce off of him. But that's kind of what's going on in this game. I suspect that the person... Oh, we're tied at 13. How about that? I suspect, again, that the person who created this ROM may have overrated some of these players, maybe inadvertently. And I do think, as I've been saying before, that there are a lot of real balance issues with this ROM, to the extent where the easy teams are way too easy for you, and teams that have somebody who can actually play, like, you know, a guy who can actually run, end up being very, very difficult. So even still, though, we're able to pass the ball over the Washington defense that isn't even trying. So there you have it. (20-13). Now, I believe, if I remember right, that they get the ball to start the second half, so maybe we should have used a little bit more time off the clock. Somebody was telling me that you want to do that as much as you can. The problem with the take more time off of the clock approach in this game is that you can only take so much time off the clock, right? Your best choice in doing that is actually, you know, running some sort of, like, having a really good return for a kickoff or something like that. Right, because otherwise, like, you know, you can actually call plays that last only like a second in this game, believe it or not. This was not the right pass. That was a really bad decision. I probably should just run for it. As I was saying before in one of the earlier games, it would be really interesting to play this game with a team that has a quarterback that's actually mobile, instead of playing all the time with, you know, these quarterbacks that have absolutely no running ability, which is what we've done 2 times in a row. Of course, you don't want them to have too much running ability, or the game's just going to be way too easy. And you also don't want that to happen. You see that, like, that kickoff return that took 40 seconds off the clock. Man, I tell you, this is the other guy, Sutton. I have absolutely no idea who that is. And, you know, knowing my luck, somebody will tell me that, oh, Sutton is so-and-so, and this is a player you should know, and all that stuff. That's usually what happens to me. We got him for a loss that time. But man, I tell you, this Washington team is actually playing pretty well. And you knew that they were going to do this eventually. I think we forced them into a field goal, which is good. That's definitely what we want to see happen. So maybe all of my complaints are completely in vain and for naught, and it doesn't really matter anyway. And they barely doinked that one in, 20-16. So Sam Baker has a little bit of good luck. And now is about the time where we should have a time-consuming drive, and we really want to not only score points, but we want to get clock to run. I need to get this play, by the way, out of the playbook. This is not the play for us. But when that happens, I like it. It's just that hasn't happened that often. Of course, I love seeing, what's his name, Alex Webster, just totally, like, throw his guy off him. That was a really bad decision on my part. Yeah, I mean, one of the other issues that I have with this ROM, by the way, is that since it's juiced, they took away the ability of the computer to get better as time goes on. And so what that means is that when you discover something that works like almost all the time against a computer, like in this case, you know, having your best receiver wide open and just throwing the ball to him downfield, you know, you end up being able to do it against almost every single team, and you end up scoring after like a couple plays, and that's it. I thought it was going to be the fake. Oh man, how does he make that catch? One of the problems that Washington has is that they have a number of receivers who are really slow, but we ended up sort of giving that to them. That was a really, really bad display of offense or defense by us. Eddie LeBaron is a real tricky one when he can get his passes to connect. Thought we would block that one, but we came just short. There's, I think that there's some sort of like random number or something that determines whether you actually are going to block the kick or not. So it's not like, oh, you just do this and it always happens. Oh, they do. They can dive vertically. Okay, that's the first time that I've seen that. So up to down dive, there you have it. You would think that eventually they would start guarding him, right? Since we've completed this play now for a touchdown probably 4 times or 5 times this game. Anyway, there you have it, Tecmo Super Bowl. Again, you know, with a ROM that's maybe a little bit better balanced, it wouldn't be so easy to do this all the time. You want to see it where it, you know, is becoming a little bit more difficult as time goes on. And the truth is that just trouncing the computer all the time isn't necessarily that much fun. Now, this game, we're not going to trounce the computer. This is going to be a close game going down to the end. But having said that, the fact that we have the ability to constantly run plays like that is not a good thing. That's not really what we want to be seeing from this game. We want to see that become harder as time goes on, instead of just, you know, run this magical play and you can win the game. You know what that feels like when you can run a single play and it's a money play? It feels to me like Madden. That's the way that Madden always is. There's always some money play you can use. It's always going to work against the computer. I know if you play competitively, you're playing multiplayer and stuff, maybe it's a little bit different. But Madden, in terms of like one-player play, is full of that. This guy, though, I mean, when you consider how bad the Washington Redskins were in 1958, I've got to say that these two running backs are probably a little bit overpowered. And as a result, what are they doing here in this playthrough? They're, you know, about to make the playoffs, and they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, right? I mean, like, I don't know. You know, maybe that's not, you know, a great sign of how this was programmed. Maybe we made a mistake. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. so now they decided they want to play defense, huh? But it doesn't matter anyway. Just give it over to Triplet, and we're able to get the first down. And we're coming close to the point where we can just sort of run out the clock, in theory. See, right here, what we'll do is, oh, we can't wait because they're going to call a timeout, so we just call the play. But from here on out, we can start running the clock out, you know, if a play doesn't work that well or something like that. And the longer that we keep that, oh, I should have waited, huh? I say the longer we keep that clock running, the better off it is for us. Gee, whatever shall I do? So it's not over yet. They can always get another touchdown and then get the onside kick and then score again. So what we want to do here again is we want to kick this deep if we can. That's probably good enough. We want to see most of that time go off the clock. And as you can see, since it starts as soon as you kick it, you get most of the time off the clock. 16 seconds, right? The computer kind of needs, because of these game situations, the computer absolutely needs to be tackled. Otherwise, this happens. Game over. So we get our revenge against the Redskins by winning this time. We had almost 400 yards total offense. We did have 400 yards, 401. They had 341. We only had the 5 yards of running from Charlie Connerly, so there wasn't so much going on there. They had 142 yards from Ed Sutton. Anyway, so we had the 7 first downs to their 5, and we played fairly well, I suppose. But it's a victory, and that's kind of the thing that matters the most. Now we want to skip ahead here to week 12. So that week 11 game is going to be the Thanksgiving game. And so we'll probably talk a little bit about that before the next video, so we can sort of recap that and look at what happened Thanksgiving and what things were like in 1958 as best as we can sort of recreate them. And then we'll go ahead with our next game, whoever it is that we're playing. We're playing Detroit, is that right? I'll take a look at the schedule here again in a second, and we can kind of figure out what's going on. No, we're playing the Eagles. We play Philadelphia. Then we play Detroit. And then the last game of the season, we play against Cleveland. So we'll have a lot more of the story to go there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll get to in a second, but it'll only be a couple days, right? Because it'll be like, 3 more regular season games, and then we're done. So anyway, there you have it. Thank you for coming along this ride with me, and stick aboard, especially if this is your first time. We got a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.